Hey dolls, welcome to Yarnum, particularly the Yarnum we find in the Hunter's Nightmare. There's no script for this video or no guidelines. You'd be amazed how hard it is to talk in front of a camera without knowing what the fuck you're gonna say. Alright, so this video is really a thank you to the hunters who helped me defeat some of the very toughest of nightmares and beasts. But first, I want to showcase you that I died against Lawrence the First Vicar so many times. And every time after you fail against a fight with Lawrence the First Vicar, you have to do this BS of a gauntlet. You don't have to kill that hunter. But it helps if you're low on blood vials. You don't have to kill this one. But it helps. It's best to get rid of these beasties, and this is the best way to get rid of them. Is to just move out of the way and let the flame ball take them out for you by leading them down a perfect path. And when you go up, you see that there are some hunters approaching the Grand Cathedral. And as they open the doors, an executioner comes out and just swipes them down. This executioner is quite tough, and you have to fight him every time. Well, you don't have to fight him every time. You could just ignore him, as long as you get past him, okay? But I went to Summer Volter, because I'm still not desperate enough to get an actual person to help me with what was the hardest fight in the game for me. So I decide to cheese the AI of this executioner and visceral attack him. Because I have no morals. This is the only optional boss fight within the DLC. Lawrence the First Vicar. We'll get to him in a moment. In order to be able to access this fight, you have to beat Ludwig, at least. And you've had to have come here earlier because you can't get access to the asylum unless you get the eye pendant here. And by using the eye pendant at the asylum, which is an echo of the cathedral church of old. If you don't ride up the elevator, but wait in the chamber of the Grand Cathedral, it will bring up an altar in which rests Lawrence's human skull, as opposed to his beastly skull, which we found at the Grand Cathedral in the waking world. Volter here is Confederate. He was a hunter, and when he devoured the flesh of a beast, he then could see vermin in the most corrupted of men. And he's going to help me, but unfortunately his help isn't going to be of much service. So Lawrence is nothing more than a cleric beast, but a cleric beast that is eternally on fire. And as we will find out, even flame burns his blood. Some of us may know that Lawrence was once a student of Bergenworth and a protege to Master Willem, but the two had differences of opinions and parted ways. Lawrence would discover the old blood was useful within blood administration that could heal many diseases, all sorts of diseases, but it was also extremely delicious, very addicting, and perhaps even bestowed some people with certain properties. As we find out, there's evidence of the church doing experiments in the earliest of days, and that they were continuing via other blood administration clinics like Yosefka. And then one day, the beastly scourge made its appearance known in Old Yarnum. And that's when the hunters came to be. Seems that the scourge is at its worst at night, especially on nights of the full moon. So that is when the hunters hunt. But those who imbibe in the blood heavily, especially those who founded the healing, those who are part of the healing church, well, even they are not immune to the beastly scourge. And the bloodthirstiest of them all turn into the worst beasts. Cleric beasts are all members of the healing church, usually high-ranking members, like vicars. We don't really know the identity of the very first cleric beast that the player is able to fight. But we do know that Amelia, Vicar Amelia, who was the vicar when we arrived in Ryan, succumbed to beasthood. She was a cleric beast. And Lawrence is a cleric beast whose skull remains in the waking world, but here he is not headless. He has no memories of his human self. He searches for them, and even though we can bring him the skull that contained them, he will never find them. But interesting that a cleric beast is eternally on fire, that their blood burns. With Lawrence being responsible for the healing church, for blood administration, for using the old blood, for causing so many people to become bloodthirsty hunters, and they themselves turn into beasts. Well, the man who started it has to have some sort of retribution, some sort of damnation involved, and thus he eternally burns. John Dewey was a Confederate that helped me, but unfortunately died before the last blow could be delivered, and I'm not going to die. No, I will not die. I avenged you, John Dewey. Here we have Maria. Or we lead to Lady Maria. She awaits in the Astral Clock Tower, as Simon, the Bowblade Hunter, has told us. He, too, is interested in the biggest secret of the Healing Church Hunters, of Bergenworth itself. But Maria is not alive. It seems as though she has taken her own life. 'Tis a shame, really. The patients of the asylum spoke so kindly of her. Why would such a wonderful woman take her own life?
A corpse should be left well alone. Oh, I know very well how the secrets beckon so sweetly. Only an honest death will kill you now. Protect you from your wild curiosity.
Ah, Lady Maria. She was an apprentice of Gammon, and someone who Gammon was very much obsessively in love with. Perhaps she didn't know, perhaps she did. Who knows? Who can say? Regardless, though, her death was a huge loss to Gammon, that he crafted a doll in her likeness. In the dream, the doll gained life and even had the exact same kindness as Lady Maria, who treats the hunters as kindly as Maria treated the patients of the asylum. But alas, she is not Maria. She will never be Maria, truly. And so Gammon cares not for the doll. Maria, she could not bear the weight of her sins. She was a part of something atrocious in the fishing hamlet. So much so that she even threw the very blade that stood by her side, that she is even fighting with us, a nightmare reflection of the blade that she tossed into a well, never to be seen the light of day again. And even though she swore never to use the blood arts of her people of Canehurst, There's no stopping us, the hunter. And so she must do the very thing she swore she never would. Because nothing else will deter us. And truly, you should play video games instead of just watching them on YouTube or Twitch. For you will not know the beauty of this fight unless you do. Interesting that Canehurst is very much of a European influence, and yet 2 blades that hail from it have Japanese names, Chikage and Nakuyo. I'm not sure what Nakuyo means. But here she visceraled me and died. And I die, not her. She very much alive-ish. And I didn't record my successful fight with her, I'm so sorry. I really just wanted to showcase the hunters who helped me with this video. This is Confederate It Me Yeet McGee. They weren't of much help, but yet they left an impression on me. And while they let me step aside, they roll through these poor villagers who mourn the loss of Lady Cause, the Great One, who, despite that many Great Ones lose their child, managed to actually become pregnant with the Great One itself. But this Great One, unfortunately, was stillbirthed due to the hunters of Bergenworth, of the doings of Lawrence, Gammon, Lady Maria, many more possibly like Nikolash, who mentioned Cause earlier. Eat Me Yeet McGee does not really make it very far in this fight. Sadly, I was unable to avenge them this one time. Spoilers. I really do love the Canehurst armor. Canehurst is a kingdom of great aesthetic and fashion. Ooh, look how that hit flows. The Japanese name for the Orphan of Cause is Kosu no Ishi. While that does literally translate to Orphan of Cause, Ishi is, however, a rather archaic word for orphan. In modern-day Japanese, Ishi would likely mean something as echoes or will. A more modern word for orphan is koji. So the Orphan of Cause is also the will of Cause. Unfortunately, it is a wordplay that is lost when translated. But fear not. We see a hunter who comes in and barely nothing. And when you see a hunter who wears no armor, you know they're very confident in their skills, especially skill against, a mad opponent, such as the Orphan of Cause. An infant Great One with the worst temper tantrum to ever have seen human eyes. I am nowhere near the skills of Willa John Senpai, but I hope I'm able to show that I am somewhat competent. Not many people are playing Bloodborne anymore, but there are still a few, especially with Elden Ring coming out in a few days. A little less than 2, in fact, as I record this. I don't know if I will stream Elden Ring. I am playing it, though. But since no one really watches my streams on twitch.tv/nerd_doll, it's hard to say. I will probably stream the first time I play it on Thursday, February 24th at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we'll see from there. Let us watch this fight. As this orphan slings its placenta around like a yo-yo. I would love to have a yo-yo weapon. There are whips. It's not the same. Ah, the caterpillar has turned into a beautiful butterfly. And this is when shit hits the fan. This is where I needed Willa-John Senpai to help me most in this arduous battle. I was not going to let the Orphan of cause me the strain that Lawrence the First Vicar did. Oh my. Such a dreadful, dreadful beastie. I do not blame it for being angry. It was denied a mother, denied a chance to live by bloodthirsty hunters. And it is why they are cursed. We love blood so much. Here, have a dream of an endless hunt where you can fill your bloodlust. You wish to ascend, and yet you are all beasts. Perhaps we'll talk a bit about Bloodborne some other time. Not right now, though. Trying to keep an eye on my health. Managed to avoid the worst of that. Really is a blessing that I have enough health to withstand its brutal attacks. And I deliver the final blow. I appreciate the aid of my fellow hunter, Willa-John Senpai. Thank you so much, Confederate. Thank you. You have been a doll. And now we shall, with the body of the Orphan of course gone, we shall now sever this nightmare. Not right now, but now. Ah, Kos. Thank you for watching.
Ah, sweet child of Kos, returned to the ocean. A bottomless curse, a bottomless sea, accepting of all that there is and can be.